U.S. President Donald Trump is saying that the Strait of Hormuz has been reopened, but that's not in line with what we're hearing from the shipping industry. After that MOU is signed between Iran and the United States on Sunday, the reality is this. Shipping executives are telling me that they remain deeply concerned about a number of threats in the region, including kinetic threats like mines, drones, missiles, threats like potential harassment from naval fleets, as well as crew exhaustion. Remember, tens of thousands of seafarers have been stranded in the Gulf since the war broke out in late February, and that has leveled a very hefty mental toll. It was on Monday when we heard this from the U.S. president on social media, Donald Trump. Let's bring it up for you. He said this, quote, "Ships are starting to move, many loaded up with oil out of the Strait of Hormuz," unquote. But this is not the operational reality out on the water, according to industry experts. In fact, marine traffic monitoring agencies are saying that there has been no significant movement in the Strait of Hormuz. We heard from Kpler saying that there are currently around 220 tankers and 500 ships still stranded in the Gulf. I spoke to one shipping CEO who's based here in Hong Kong, who told me he still has around a dozen vessels stuck in the Gulf. He has no plans to move them. This is what he told me. Let's bring it up for you. His name is Angad Banga. He's the CEO of the Caravel Group, also Fleet Management. This is the world's second largest ship management company. He says, "We are maintaining enhanced manning and citadel readiness until we have 30 days of incident-free transits." Not 3 days, 30, unquote. I also spoke to someone who works in the maritime insurance industry. He's based out of London. His name is Simon Kay. He's with North Standard, which provides liability insurance for much of the world's shipping fleet. And he told me this. Let's bring it up for you. For shipping, the position on the Straits of Hormuz, notwithstanding the lifting of the dual blockades, it remains uncertain. The strait will reopen for mine removal, but Iran's ongoing control of the waterway, that remains unclear. And lastly, a line that I heard from Tim Huxley, another Hong Kong-based shipping executive. He's the chairman of Mandarin Shipping, and he told me this: even if things go smoothly and everything goes back to normal, it's going to take some time before trade flows are back to normal. A lot of infrastructure has been damaged in the Middle East, which will take time to fix. So, Victor, look, throughout the conflict, the Strait of Hormuz has turned into this flashpoint. It has snarled global shipping traffic. It has pushed energy prices higher. And from what I'm hearing from executives in the shipping industry, they remain very wary, very cautious about any immediate return to the traffic flows that we saw before the war began. Back to you.
And Kristie, we know that the Strait of Hormuz is at the center of the conversation at the G7. What are you learning about those conversations in France?
Yeah, the G7 summit is underway in France, as you've been reporting. U.S. President Donald Trump is, of course, there. He's been hailing the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. But other Western leaders, they don't share his optimism about the Hormuz Strait being, quote, reopened. In fact, they want to focus on the practical realities of gradually reopening the strait in a way to safeguard global shipping. In fact, this is what we're learning. The leaders of the UK and France are putting forward the idea of having a multinational naval mission that would be able to safeguard vessels as they go through. But it's not clear whether or not Iran would be on board with such a mission, as it would involve forces just off its own coast. Also, it's not clear exactly when the Strait of Hormuz will reopen. Analysts say that this is a process that could take weeks, if not months, because the confidence is not there. Confidence needs to be restored both in the maritime insurance industry and among global shippers.
Kristie Lu Stout reporting from Hong Kong. Thank you so much. Let's bring